Hey, I'm Jenn B from Purple Penguin Fitness. Let's talk about the three most important factors in your workouts. This is important to know because manipulating or changing these three things are crucial to making sure you are getting the most effective workouts, avoiding injury, avoiding burnout, and not stressing about your workout schedule, your workout plan, what you're doing, how often you're doing it, when you're doing it, all of these things. So let me tell you right off the bat what the three things are, and then we're going to go deeper into each one of them. The first is frequency. How often are you working out? 3 days a week? 6 days a week? Frequency. The second is intensity. How hard or challenging are these workouts? Are you taking a walk at a moderate to low intensity, or are you like killing it and crushing it in a high intensity interval training class or CrossFit or something like that? Running, sprinting, so your intensity level. I measure this on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 to 3 being pretty chill. I can walk, I can talk, I can breathe. I could do it long term, no problem. 8, 9, 10 being like, I think I might die. I can barely breathe. I cannot do this for very long at all. So that's your range. And then the third factor is, I don't know why I said it like that, the third factor, like it's some major like epiphany. The third factor is duration. Are you doing this for 10 minutes or are you doing this for 90 minutes? There's a long range. So frequency, how often, intensity, how hard, duration, how long. Those are your three factors. You manipulate those with any type of exercise, whether you're walking, running, strength training, yoga, cycle, whatever it may be. You apply these three factors to whatever you're doing. I'm going to throw in a fourth little bonus tip. Make sure you're adding some variety to what you're doing in addition to these three factors, but that's a topic for another day. Okay, why is this important? Because you can't have high volume of all three. You cannot, hear me, have high volume of all three factors. At least not for long, not without causing some damage, either like an actual physical damage, injury, mental, you just get burnout and you used to love it, now you hate it, or just burnout. Just your energy will be low, your motivation will be low, you'll just be over it. And it's really important because when you're younger and or when you're in really good shape at any age, sometimes you feel a little bit indestructible, like you can do high intensity workouts for an hour every day. Feel like you're on top of the world. But I promise you there are consequences, and that is not maintainable. My whole jam, I don't know if you've heard, is about sticking to the fundamentals, I call the fitdamentals, and making this whole fitness thing, journey, lifestyle, whatever you want to call it, fit life, maintainable. Something that you do over and over and over, more often than not, like forever, to infinity and beyond. Okay, I'm a dork. But for realsies, it's really important. I've said that 5 times. It's really important. You've got to listen to me on this. I know from personal experience, because I've been at the bottom of burnout more times than I care to admit, like way more times than I care to admit. I've learned this lesson too many times. And I've also been at that point where I feel like I can do anything. Like the fitter I get, the harder I can work, the more I can do it. And that is true to some extent. But I repeat, you cannot have high volume of all three of these factors. You cannot. So how do we do this? You can have 2 out of 3. So you can either do high frequency, 5, 6, 7 days a week, high intensity, crushing it, killing it, HIIT workouts, but they're short in duration. We're talking like 10 to 20-minute workouts, 30 if you're super fit. The exact numbers on this vary immensely based on who you are. So the numbers are just reference. You're making up your own numbers. So that's one way to do it. Or you could not do it very often. You're only doing it like twice a week. High intensity, and then you can go longer, 45, 60 minutes. So that's one way to look at it. Or you could play with the intensity, right? You could do it every day for a long duration if it's low intensity. This is where walking is great. You can walk every day for an hour. Most people can. Maybe you can't when you're just starting out, but that's an example of something that's low intensity. You could do often, you could do long duration. Then you could play with the duration. It could be frequent, it could be high intense if it's really short duration. So those are your 3 factors. Manipulate them. Never have more than 2 out of the 3 at the higher end in terms of how often, how intense, how long. You've got to have at least 1 or 2 workouts per week that scale back on at least 1, maybe even 2 out of the 3 factors. Okay, so I know this is all kind of very vague, and I haven't given you like a really specific template, like fill in the blank, this many days, this intensity, this duration, because again, that's very, very individual to you. But start being aware of these things, and if you're finding yourself just being kind of meh about your workouts, not looking forward to it, being a little too tired after, like you're giving it everything, literally like everything you've got, and you've got nothing left for your actual life, you've got to scale back. Scale back on the intensity to start and see how you feel. And then if that's not enough, scale back on the duration, do shorter workouts. If that's still not enough, scale back on the frequency. And of course, by adding different types of exercise, different types of workouts into this method, you can play with the variables automatically. So maybe one of your lower intensity days is something entirely different than what you do on your higher intensity days. I highly recommend that. But those are your 3 factors to be aware of, to apply to no matter what exercise you're doing, no matter what workouts you're following, no matter if you're beginner, intermediate, advanced. If you're advanced, you can get away with more, but you've still got to scale back from time to time. This is why athletes have off seasons. It's really important. It's why bodybuilders have recovery phases. You cannot have high levels of all 3 factors for long, if at all. Drop a comment below. Let me know you were here. Let me know which one of these factors is the hardest for you to change. For me, it was or is duration. They're all kind of hard for me to admit. I can't do all the things all the time, but I used to think that if I couldn't do at least 45 minutes, then it wasn't worth it. Why bother? It's not a workout if it's not at least 45 minutes. But I've changed my thinking, and now even 10 minutes is worth it to me if it's often and or high intensity. So let me know which one is the hardest for you, how you feel about this, how this landed on you. I will be back again soon with another video. Until then, be well. Take care.